and embarrassingly grubby at the same time. He kept a wary eye on Indigo's house as he collected his papers. An awful lot of girls lived there.
"How many sisters have you got?"
he had once asked Indigo.
"3,
Indigo had replied, and then reconsidering,
No, 2 really."
"Don't you know?"
Indigo said of course he knew, and he listed his sisters for David.
"Caddy, she's at university in London, but she's home for the summer."
"She's grown up then,"
pronounced David. He did not like grown-ups.
"Grown up,"
he repeated disconsolately. Indigo said he supposed so. Caddy, scatty, golden-haired, last seen tearfully designing a gravestone for her most recent dead hamster, did not seem particularly grown up.
"Caddy's the eldest," Indigo told David. "Then there's Saffron, but she's not really my sister, she's my cousin. She came to live with us ages ago when she was little, when her mother died. Her mother was my mother's sister, so we adopted her. Anyway, you know Saffron."
David winced at the thought of Saffron, whom he knew only too well. She was 15, more than a year older than him and Indigo, clever, gorgeous, and ruthless. She and her best friend had once invaded the boys' washroom and attacked the leader of the most vicious gang in the school. Her friend had guarded the door to stop anyone escaping, while Saffron had nearly pulled off the gang leader's head. Not one of his henchmen, including David, had dared raise a finger to stop her.
"What if Saffron opened the door?"
David unwrapped the whole of the rest of the packet of chews and pushed them into his mouth all together. They fitted easily. Only 2 tiny yellow triangles of dribble at the corners of his lips showed that they were there at all.
"Saffron'll have forgotten about me by now,"
thought David, who was a hopeful person. The last of Indigo's sisters was very young, not quite 9, dark-haired and white-faced, completely different from Caddy and Saffron. Nothing about her was alarmingly good-looking, or grown-up, or tough. Her name was Rose. Permanent Rose. "Permanent Rose?" said people, whenever they heard Rose's name for the first time. "What kind of name is Permanent Rose?"
"It's my kind of name,"
said Rose. "Is it a joke?" That was the question everyone asked. Everyone. Even Rose's own father had asked it once. Rose could just remember the huge, indignant fuss he had made when she was 4 years old, and her father had finally discovered that her amusing pet name was not, as he had always supposed, an amusing pet name at all.
"Permanent Rose?" he had repeated, over and over again. "Permanent Rose? No!"
He had been filling in a form for a new passport, putting on all the children's names so that they could travel with him. "Just in case," said Bill, who always did things just in case. Caddy, Saffron, and Indigo were already safely listed, and then he came to Rose. She was hanging around, watching every move he made, the way she always did when he was at home. "Your turn, Rosie Pose," he had said, smiling down at her. Then he picked up Rose's birth certificate, which he had never happened to see before, and there it was. Permanent Rose.
"Eve, darling," said Bill.
Eve was Rose's mother.
"Darling,"
repeated Bill, very indignant and far from amused.
"What were you thinking of?"
Eve, who was also an artist, had been thinking of the colour that painters use. Permanent Rose. A clear, warm colour that glows with its own lively brightness, no matter how thinly spread. A colour that does not fade. There had been a permanent rose-coloured sky on the morning that Rose was born. Rose had arrived into the world a lot earlier than anyone had expected her to, and from the absolute beginning she had seemed very unthrilled about the prospect of having to stay. She had been like a visitor hovering on a doorstep, wondering if it is worth the bother of actually coming in. People had sent flowers to Eve, but not baby toys or little clothes. It did not seem that Rose intended to be around long enough to need such things. Eve knew quite well why she only got flowers. That was why one afternoon she had slipped out of the hospital.